Simon, the big one's finally here and you prepared for it in the best way possible with a massive win, some would say, in the Betfred Championship over Featherstone Rovers on Sunday evening. How pleased are you with that performance?
Yeah, very pleased. Obviously Featherstone, well, the table speaks for itself. They've done really well this year thus far, and to get 2 points off them is pretty big at any time, but at a time where we really needed to stay in the fight really for that top six, with a difficult running in the next few weeks as well. Really important to stay with that group that's sort of jostling for those places. So yeah, really happy with it, and yeah, beating Featherstone's no mean feat. They're a good team. 2 losses out of in the league this year, and we had that little bit of confidence, I think, from putting them under the pump when we played them before, and obviously got the win there. So yeah, it was a good win, and thankfully came away with not too many broken and bruised bodies.
The intensity was really high. Had that feel of a bit of a playoff game at times, and a bit of a cup match, so that should stand you in good stead for Saturday. Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't think only that game, Faz. I think I've said already, London was a very tough contest, as was Sheffield, and then you back that up with the third tough one in a row with Fev, which I don't know, it's cup. You can say what you want. It might count for something, it might not. But I'd like to think playing in a few tough games gets you ready for them sort of tough encounters, and it's never anything different against Batley. And last time we come up against them, they played smart. They played the Batley way, I suppose. And we didn't look anything like ourselves, so we owe ourselves a performance for that one. But that aside, it's a one-off smash and grab sort of day, isn't it? So we're looking forward to it, and one more session to go tonight, and a bit of video to look at. Yeah, and then we're all set really.
Some standout performers there. Ryan Lanham through the middle had an outstanding game. Brandon Pickerskill at the back, but the one that stood out the most, got the man of the match on the TV cameras. James Woodburn-Hall playing at half-back. Does that give you any sort of selection headaches with the prospect of Joe Keys coming back into the lineup for the cup?
Yes and no. But yeah, there was some great performers throughout. I don't think anyone had a bad game, to be fair. But yeah, Woody's been great. I think I've been critical at times about his consistency and his contribution, and him being that good, we need him to contribute a lot and have many touches of the ball, and we haven't always seen that. But he's last couple of years he's definitely got there, hasn't he? And at the weekend he showed some really classy touches at the right times, between the drop goal, the left foot kick, and found grass from halfway line when he was under pressure, and obviously took a couple of tries as well, which was great to see. But yeah, in terms of selection, you always want bodies to pick from, don't you? And I think the halves we've had since Keys' injury, we've been in a position where not so much a free run of it, but we've had to chop, change, move things around, try and find something, and we may have changed things further had we had more bodies. But I think we found a good combo at the moment, and we'll see what the rest of it looks like after this session.
You mentioned not too many broken bodies. What's the injury report after Featherstone going into the cup final? I think you said in your post-match it's the sort of week where you hide the niggles.
Yeah, no one's been too forthcoming with anything. Listen, we've got lads who are carrying stuff now, and they will carry it until the end, but I don't think there's anyone in danger of missing out through injury at this stage. But hopefully, touch wood somewhere when we finish this interview around training tonight, hopefully we'll finish that in good fashion, and we'll all be ready to go. So
moving on to Saturday then, an absolutely huge game. Not just in the club's recent history, but yourself as a coach. It's possibly, would you say, the biggest game that you've been involved in as a Halifax employee?
Yeah, possibly, in terms of the magnitude of the event, if you like, the stadium, the cup final experience and all that is a really good thing to be part of. But it is just another game, and I know that sounds very cliche and boring, but it is another game. At the moment, prepared for it just like another game. It all feels a little bit different when you get there. And you're playing those big stadiums, it does feel a bit different. So we'll get to that and see how it all looks on Saturday.
Obviously, games like this, you've selected 21-man squad, but only 17 can play, and you'll have your 18th man. Have you got an idea of your starting 17 come Saturday evening?
Yeah, got it. Difficult, mate. There's only a few conversations to be had. There's one smiling in the background now. But they are difficult, and I've been on the end of them. It's not a nice one to receive, and from this experience and a few other experiences over the last couple of years, I know it's not a nice one to give either. But all I'll ask of them is to be good teammates. That's all they can do now, and make sure the experience is good for the pals, and enjoy it, because anyone who misses out has certainly added to the game, haven't they? They get us there, whether it's through the performance on the pitch or their effort and energy in training to make sure everyone's as good as they can be. So it's not an individual thing. It's not the 17 on the day. It's everyone. It's everyone at the club. We've got a lot of staff that have invested a lot in this in terms of their time and stress levels through the roof, you know, to try and get it all right. So, you know, we're not just playing, it's not just those 17 that are playing, there's a lot of people it means a lot to, and the players that miss out are no different. So look, it is what it is, but as we said, I think we said it on Tuesday, only 17 can play, and we've picked the team that we think's right for this game, and we've got one more session, we get through that okay, and that's what it'll be.
Our form against Batley this year has been a bit up, down, left, right and centre. First game at the Shade, we beat them. Summer Bash was a closer game, but fell to a narrow defeat, and then obviously the game over at Mount Pleasant, we suffered probably our heaviest defeat of the season. Have you seen anything in recent weeks that makes you believe that we can put that result right when we get to Wembley on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first game we had against Batley, we played pretty regimented. I think it was maybe our first without Keezy, and Woody did a great job for us in that one. We played the game at the right end of the field and got some opportunities, and we come away with the points then. Bash, we're in good shape for a decent portion of that, and it just all went away from us, and we know why. We know the why, which is the important piece, because if you don't know why, then you're struggling to come up with a way to fix it. But unfortunately, when we went over there, for anyone that watched it, we just made error on error on error. It was a bit of a... We've been bad for errors this year, Faz, and hurt ourselves at times, but that was a different level to what anyone's seen. It was just constant, and we could have been there another half an hour, couldn't we? I'm not sure we'd have got a point. They probably scored another hatful as well. One of those days, but we've got over that, and they are hard to get over as well. And we've, as I said at the beginning of the interview, we've played a few really tough games moving at this one, so that's long in the past. Batley have lost a couple, but you wouldn't expect anything but a really tough game, a good physical encounter against Batley, and they've obviously got a lot of skill as well, because they can put points on as well, as we've found ourselves. So I definitely think it'd be one to watch, and hopefully those who are going to watch the Premier event hang around, because I think, you know, the Championship's a great league, and this is two teams that have done the game well over the last couple of years, and probably shot above their means and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's a good game for the neutral, but certainly for a tough game for all involved. Without
revealing too much of your game plan, where do you see the keys to victory on Saturday?
Keys to victory, Faz. Well, look, firstly, playing the game at the right end of the field, we need to make sure we're not dishing the ball up near our own line. You know, they're more dangerous when they're there, and that obviously goes without saying, but just being us, mate, I think. Don't let the occasion, if you like, get to you. I know that's a cliche saying, but it can. Often people try stuff under stress and whatnot. We want to earn ourselves a footing in the game and then see where that takes us. But look, we'll be going hard. I say it doesn't matter what's happening in the league, but that 42-0 does burn a bit. So I'm sure the lads are wanting to put that right in their heads around the performance, and hopefully the result takes care of itself.
What's your message been to the team throughout the week in the build-up to this game? It might be, for some it's the first cup final they've been involved, for some it might be the only time they ever get to play in such a big stadium on a big stage. So what's your message been to the squad?
Well, we only had Tuesday together, so Tuesday was a little bit of correction from Featherstone, but we had a brief chat about it, made sure everyone's ready, and they've got all the things that can be a distraction done before we head down there. They don't want to be chasing around, trying to sort tickets out for people and whatnot after that. So yeah, they're in a good place. Excited to go into this one. Obviously, like you said, beating Featherstone, a big win, gives you a little bit of confidence and a bit of a spring in your step going into this one at the weekend. But my experience of finals is it goes really quick. So just try and absorb everything, and that'll be the chat tonight, really, about enjoying it and making sure you make the most of your opportunity.
And the same with the fans, obviously. There'll be a lot of the older end that were there at the Challenge Cup finals of the 80s, but for a lot of younger fans, we've had a Grand Final, a Northern Rail Cup final, but they were played in Blackpool, Warrington. Nothing like going to Wembley. What's your message to the younger fans and fans in general that are going to get down there and get behind the boys this weekend?
Oh, well, look, firstly, thanks for your support thus far. Thanks for taking out the loans to get down to Wembley and stop over and enjoy the day, really. We've been through some very difficult times as a club over the last 20 years since dropping out of Super League, and this is a nice reward for those long-standing supporters. But for those new ones or newer ones, hopefully give them an experience to talk about, as you said. And I don't mean to sound negative about it, but we talk about the one that happened 35 years ago a hell of a lot. I think we probably talk about it too much when we've got a lot to celebrate in the present. I think we've got some very good players, committed players to this club who've done a great job for a long time, and hopefully we can put a performance in we can all be proud of. And then we'll see some pictures of your Walmsleys and your Fairbanks on these walls, as opposed to some of those older boys like Scotty who are still getting all the glory.
Simon, personally, from myself as a lifelong fan and staff member, from all the staff here, all the volunteers, all the supporters, the very best of luck for Saturday.
Thank you very much.